Welcome to my studio in Ireland. My name is Anna Dąbrowska, also known as Finnabair. I'm here with Prima Marketing, and we are going to do new Facebook Live, altering this wooden, MDF heart. And I hope you are going to enjoy it. If you are not familiar with our products, please check website finnabair.com and check primamarketinginc.com. These are the websites where you can learn a lot about the mixed media products I've made, and it's going to be very inspiring for you to see some of the tutorials by my design team and amazing stuff that Prima Marketing does, because this is not just mixed media. Well, now let me switch to the top view for you. So just quick look at the heart now. I was trying to take the photo this way so we can see how shiny it is. I hope you can see it. There are some lovely details, especially on the heart itself. I was using my stamps to create a pattern on the paper. And we are going to also use the image that is stamped. So I think it's very lovely. Little decor that you can give to somebody or put it somewhere as a nice touch. So I'm going to work together with you creating a very similar heart. And what do you need to start with? You need to get some mediums on your table. So for example, heavy body gel for gluing the heavier parts. It's good to have gesso, because we're going to add a tiny bit of gesso to wash off the color. I'm going to use the soft gel for gluing the elements a bit, but also for varnishing the paper. And I'm also planning to use paints. I'm going to use sparks in two colors. I'm going to use unicorn hair, and I'm going to use the dragon's eye. So two really pretty paints. Well, of course, there will be some art ingredients as well. You can see some art stones here. So I've got them as well ready. And you need something to decorate. So I was mostly using the new embellishments, my new mechanicals, the Woodland Ferns with the rusty finish. And I picked this set of embellishments. You can see the biggest cog I used just under the bird. So the machine parts, this is another very nice set I've made, and I hope you like it. And we also need some other metal pieces and a bit of Prima flowers. I mostly was using these two sets for the smaller ones, and then some bigger roses. So it's generally whatever you can find on your table is nice, but we have to start with preparing the background, and this is a really fun part. We need something that is going to be the base. So for me it is this kind of panel. You can see it was designed to be a home decor, but my paper is going to cover that. You can pick any paper you like. I was just using scrapbooking paper from 7 Dot Studio. This is the Homegrown collection. It's very lovely set of the neutrals with the touches of green and purple in it, and I really want to follow that color palette. So these papers were the papers I was using for my project. Of course, the heart is quite long, so I need a bigger piece. So when I was getting ready, I just cut 12 by 12 page in half, and now I'm going to stick my heart on the back of it so I can see this lovely paper on the top. You can use soft gloss gel, or you can use anything. I would prefer thicker because this paper is quite thick as well. I will use 3D gloss gel, and I will try to spread it kind of evenly on the top. I will just put this one in a safe place. So I have got nice coat of the gel we're just going to hold the paper in place. Ready? And now I need to pick the position that is going to be the best. Let's say here. Now a bit of massage so it's going to stay in place. And now the tricky part, you have to be careful because we need to cut it, right? So the easiest way would be just take the knife and cut it with the knife. I will just remove the excess of the gel first with the baby wipe. Of course, you can use any paper you like. You can just create collage background. I really love the patterns on 7 Dot Studio papers. Didi, who is the main designer, she makes amazing stuff. So that is just perfect for me to start with. And the color of the paper was just great inspiration for the whole color palette. So when you're cutting, of course, watch your fingers and be careful. Don't do it on the table directly. Don't do it on your spraying mat. Do it on your cutting mat. I don't use cutting mats a lot, so mine is very old and not so pretty. I've got Prima one, which is much better, but it's huge, so I can't really put it on the table now easily because there will be not enough space. This Prima mat is black and turquoise. It's very, very cool. Ta-da! Success! So this is my base for the project. This is what I wanted to get. I will just take the distressing tool. This is also one of the tools from Prima. And I will make sure the edge is sticking nicely. So if something wants to come off, it will now. It will do it now for sure. Just removing the excess of the paper, if there is any. So 3D gloss gel is one of the good solutions. You can use any other medium which will be sticky. It was just easy to do it this way. Now before I'm going to start decorating, I would like to add some details to the heart because now it is having these lovely colors. It's distressed in a pretty way, but it's missing some of the pattern. I would just prefer to do the pattern myself. If you can see the original sample, you can see the patterns I made with stamps. So I will just now try to get some of the inks. It may be any ink that you like, which is kind of permanent. It's better to have permanent, so it's maybe stays on, or archival, something that is going to be safe to work on and it's not going to bleed. I would not recommend distress ink because it may bleed a little bit too much during the process. And I need some background stamps. So in this release we had stamps that are like a lovely mixture of some quotes and some elements. And for this project I picked the stamp that comes from this set. This is called Beautiful Story, and I really love this one because there are numbers and text. And this one, which is like a ledger stamp, I think it's some calendar. It's in French, so my friends told me everything there is fine, like there are no strange words, so I checked. And if you really like these kind of background stamps, you can also look at the set which is called Old Paperwork. They're all beautiful stamps with the detail, so there will be great things that you can stamp on as a background, even multiple times. Okay, so you don't have to be perfect with the stamping at all. It's just to get general pattern visible. So maybe I will start with this one. This is in French as well. It's absolutely beautiful. And I will try to repeat some of the designs in different places. Okay, now let's go to this one. I really like the lines. They're adding great detail. Beautiful. And now maybe these text and numbers, just to show you how it is. I repeat the stamping in several places, and I quite like to remove part of the ink from the stamp before, so it's not going to be so dark and so visible. Sometimes it's just what you need. It's like a little detail. And as well, you don't really need to use the stamping block. You can just use your fingers for this kind of careless stamping, because we are not going for perfection here. So this way, very easily, I made my own pattern background on the top of 7 Studio paper. And just for extra accents, I picked this one. This is like stamp with the little post stamp on the top. So I'm going to add these as well. I just love these traditional looking stamps. They are great for details. Before I'm going to start decorating, I would like to make sure this paper is not going to absorb too much of my colors later. And you can see how easy the stamping is. You can create your own papers very easily this way. So I will dry it, and in the meantime, maybe I will add some some elements that I would also like to use. Okay, so some lazy drying here on the side. These are paper elements. I would like to add a tiny bit of details to them as well. Not too much, just in case if I need them, they are already with the pattern, so everything will work nicely together. Okay. So the ink is dry for sure, so now I can just varnish that on the top. And the main purpose of doing that is to stop my paints or any things that I'm going to spray or paint on the top from soaking into the paper. So this is going to be like resisting surface. It will be easier to control what kind of how thick your layers are going to be. It will be possible to remove the ones that you don't really want to keep, you know. Sometimes you don't want to keep anything. So one coat of the soft gel. It's going to dry glossy. If you prefer matte finish, no problem, use the matte one. They're both resistant. So this is like a protective coat for the project. You can see it's shiny now. Okay, and I will just dry it again. So just to give you another look. Hi Sharon, that was soft gel on the top of the paper. So that is coat of the soft gel to give it a protection coat that is going to stop the paint from soaking in, okay? This is going to be like the protection coat. It may be matte or glossy version. I've got glossy on my table, so it's going to be this one, okay? So now, we are going to work on the composition, and as you can see there are many layers. One of the first layers are papers and the cheesecloth. So the papers, you can see some of them I stamped already, and they are waiting here on the side. They may be just great to start with. Then the second thing, I've got cute tags, and they've got a bit of twine. So I just took the tags, which are a part of that collection, but you can make a tag yourself very easily. And then if you want to add pattern to it, you can. The tags look like this, and then the easiest way just to make a hole, of course, not breaking anything on the way. Adding some twine. And they will be my first layer. Just cute. So for good balance, I will put one tag on one side and the other one on the other side. And then I will try to add some of these details as well. I'm going to look at the embellishments I've got ready for today, because I've got some bigger elements that will go as one of the first layers. I was thinking about using flowers and some metal parts as well. These are big metal corners. They're from Mitform, and they are quite heavy, but they are going to be the bottom of my composition. And the flower here, maybe together with a friend, it's going to go here. So let's start gluing things down. I will put one tag, and you don't have to use heavy body gel. It may be any glue for this, but it's just easier not to change the glues all the time if I don't have to, right? And adding some nice details. I really like these long bits coming from the bottom, maybe. And again, for the balance on the other side as well. Okay, I'm not sure where the other ones are going to go, but once I will glue the big things in, everything will be easier. That is like huge half of the cog now. I can pull it a little bit up. And this is the image of the bird I'm going to use, so you can see it's going to sit on the top of all of that. I'm going to stamp it later for you, but I had to cheat, so I already have one waiting. Now, if you want to get rid of the lumps of gel that you can see here, you can take some smaller brush and water and just take them out. And okay, this is going to sit here. And before I'm going to glue the flowers, I need to organize my cheesecloth as well. So that will be a good moment to dry it as it is and work a little bit on the background color. So I've got my flowers ready, I've got my big cheesecloth, and we're going to build more layers now. Piece of cheesecloth, not too much because it's just something delicate in the background, so remember there are many layers. What kind of brushes do I use? Honestly, I use my set of brushes. I've got my own set of brushes and they are flat ones, like this. So there's 1 inch, 3/4 of the inch, and then there's one like this. Oh. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then there are 3 or 4 of the small ones. That's the set that covers all my needs, and you can buy it from Prima. This is like ready to go set you can buy, and this is a part of my Art Basics collection. So I really like the fact they are synthetic hair, soft the way I like it, good for dry brushing, good for applying gessos, all these things that you really need to do when you're doing mixed media. Very versatile, really good value for money. So they are just perfect. Okay, I've got these little pieces ready. Right, they're going to go here. And if you have a closer look, there's one more thing that I use. There's like a big MDF piece that is holding all these layers under. And I've got another one exactly the same. This is like huge hush. Yeah, I think so. It's like oversized hush. So this is going to be holding things in place somewhere on my project, maybe like this. So the bird is going to sit on the top of that. So now, for the extra measure, I'm going to add a bit of gesso on it, and I'm going to put a bit of the color. Gesso is going to just to make the color a tiny bit lighter. So I will put 1 coat on my MDF element. This is from, again, this is the one I got from Artistiko, from company that is Polish, but I'm sure you can imagine this is piece of chipboard or any other quiet looking element, right? And then once I have the brush in gesso, I'm going to add a little bit of the whiter edges to my heart as well. So it's going to be a little bit whitewashed on the edges. I can even blur it with my finger. You can do the same to the metal element if you like, if you think it's too heavy. And because I put the gel on my heart first, now I can even easily remove that coat. See? This is why I really like using the coat, because if something goes wrong, you can easily remove it. You can change your mind. Yeah, so this is really cool. I do it now because later when all the elements are there, it's not so easy to get into details, so It will be perfect moment because we need to paint the MDF element anyway, because it's brown and I would prefer to have it lighter. See, there's too much of gesso here. Okay, that should be fine. Not too much. Quick drying and we can stick our cheesecloth on. So now we can try to put it a little bit together. I will just place some random piece of cheesecloth, gluing them with whatever I've got, so maybe heavy body gel, but it may be anything else. So there will be those dynamic elements in the composition, because it's going to be all about being wild and free as a bird, right? So you can imagine this is the wind, maybe. And you don't have to stick them completely, it's just like general like spider web in the middle. This is not really a great one, this is better. Can you really see my amazing skill in styling the cheesecloth? Right? It's really a lot of practice. You have to try. Okay. I know it doesn't look very promising, but it's going to be much better. I promise. Really, I promise. So now here it's going to be the big flower, and for the good measure. The plan is to go like this. I need to make this flower a little bit more flat here, right? I would need something to balance that in that color. Of course, you can color the cloth. It's up to you what you're going to do. I'm going to color that a little bit later anyway. Look, it's going to get color from the paints anyway. I need something to balance that, so I've got some flowers. They're really lovely. Prima makes the best flowers because they are all handmade and the paper quality is just amazing. They're just so cute. Look at these ones. And I need something dimensional, like this would be so nice, I think. Let's measure with the bird. Yeah. So this one goes here, and this one needs company, so let's give him some company. Much better. We can even stick one more here, so it looks like a nice flower cluster. And then one more here, because uneven numbers just work better for the composition. And then measuring again. Oh, looks like I have to move it a little bit more down because this flower is a little bit too stiff. That's why it's good to measure from time to time to see what you are really doing. That's better. That's much better. Now we can add the other paper pieces because we already know where the things are going. So if you feel there's like a space you would like to decorate, now you can. I just love to put as much as I can. It's just so very rewarding to see that all happening. This circle, Maybe it's just too big. I really like the green accents. Yeah. I keep the flowers here just in case if I need to add more. And I will show you what we've got so far. These are the bottom layers. The bottom layers of the composition. And we are going to dry them. And we are going to work on the color as well. Okay? So you can see it's quite messy when you look at it, but then it all comes together. So just give me a moment. Let's see how it's all going to work. I need this one here. Now my stamped bird is going to fly like this. Right? I need some accents going out of the composition. So for that idea, I have my ferns. They are in really cool color, but I don't want them colored, so I will keep them for later. I would add them later once it is a bit more painted. So I would like to have them on the opposite sides of the heart. Okay. And I'm taking my paints now and I will add the first colors. Before anything, I will just dry it. I'm going to use my liquid acrylics. They are liquid paints, which are just the new thing that we released. I was working on them for quite a long time. They are absolutely beautifully fluid and very, very highly pigmented. As you can see on my palette, they dry with the glossy finish. Okay, so they are going to be just the color touches, so you don't need a lot of them. And because they have so much pigment, please be careful and don't use too much because you will be sorry later, wasting the paint. So I've got some purple and green. This is following the palette of the colors from the paper. And I've got some black and some brown to make it a little bit more vintage. They're acrylic paints, so you can paint them as they are, or you can add some water to them, which is really rewarding because it's almost like watercolor effect. I will start with a bit of the color here and there, but I don't want to put too much. I mostly put it under the embellishments. As you can see, a bit of color goes a really long way. So maybe here as well. And then let's take the green. Just need to clean my brush in between. This green is very, very rich, and I'm going to make it a little bit dirty with brown. So you can use them almost like watercolors if you want to. What I'm going to do, I will show you one more trick. Once you have them on your project, of course you can make them drip and they're going to dry just lovely. But if you've got some cavities, so spaces that you would like to cover and you can't touch them with the brush, you can turn your acrylics into sprays as well. Okay, so this is an example of the spray I made. This is the same brown, see? This is just 1:1 proportion. So what I do, I take one of the Prima bottles and then you can just pick the color that you would like to make. Let's say I'm doing, oh, I've got purple, so no, maybe let's do some green. We don't have green. Right? You mix it together and you've got permanent spray that you can use for your project. just right away. So you can also go like this, yeah, if you prefer. I would like to get a little bit more brown on my flowers, so I'm using this kind of brown spray and maybe a bit more of purple. When it's still wet, you can remove the excess. So I'm just picking the excess from the background with the baby wipe. Once it is dry, it's permanent. So from here to here, we are not far. We just need to start adding elements. So first of all, I'm going to glue this chipboard in. It's going to be under my bird, so I'm going to help it a little bit in here because it's empty space. I will put a bit of the 3D foam as well. I've got some 3D foam. But most of the gluing will come from the heavy body gel, of course. That was the position. Again, cleaning. Now adding the rusty elements. I need one here. It's a little bit too much, so I will cut it a bit smaller. Just need to find scissors. If it's soft metal, you can quite easily cut the elements off, and now I'm sliding that under. Sometimes I'm getting too distracted. I don't remember what I was saying. This one goes here for the good balance. Come on, stay. I've got even one more, so I can add one more. And now we are going to add some art stones that are going to finish the texture in a beautiful way. This way you can just cover all the imperfections as well. So what you need is a small brush, a tiny bit of the soft gel again, and a bit of patience while applying the little pieces called art stones. It's really up to you where they go. I usually put them around the clusters of embellishments, like here. I just sprinkle and dry. Art stones are very lightweight and they are perfect for sticking to your projects without adding any weight to that. So even on tags and cards they do a great job. I think I need a little bit here. I almost dropped them into the gel. Oh my god. Now, tapping off the excess. Quick drying. It's a very wet project, that's why it's important to have your heat gun on hand, but we are almost there. Last touch is adding the big element under our bird, and then something small for the balance, and then adding the metallic. Metallic is combination of two sparks, unicorn's hair, which is, you can see, probably my most loved sparks color, and dragon's eye, which is warmer gold. Absolutely beautiful. So the plan for today is to add this metal element here for our bird to stick to, and then for the good measure I've got one more that is going to go in here, so it will be absolutely beautiful. Let's do that. They are new mechanicals that were just released in the winter, and they are coming in sets, of course. This was called I lost it now. It was here. Well, I was showing you. Oh, here. This was called machine parts, and you can see there's a lot of elements in it. So I used the big one on the sample. Then now I'm using the other elements from this set. And now I lost my heavy body gel. Oh, here it is. Okay, so again, I'm putting a big blob of gel, sticking the element in, and then again, big blob of gel, sticking element in, checking with the bird. Perfect. Now, I keep looking at the bird, but I didn't tell you where it's coming from. It's one of the stamps from my set. So what I did, of course, I stamped it on the paper, and as you can see, this is really good size stamp. I used the same Archival ink I used for the background, and then of course patiently I cut it out. I'm not master of fussy cutting, so really I'm proud. And you know, my tip is, if you don't like it, you can always ask your husband to do it, because they are usually much more precise than we are. So, you know, so perfect. And now I will take my sparks, and now I will add this delicate touch of the color that I need in some places. Sparks, they have the most amazing mica in them, super shiny. So I'm going to apply that in the parts of the composition I would really like to see to shine. So mostly on the opposite sides. I follow the same line as I started with the flowers and then continued with the leaves. So if you're not sure where to go with these, you can always rely on the line you created already. And here for some good measure. And surprise, surprise, I need to spray it a little bit as well. So it is going to be floating beautifully. It's the most magical effect and the most beautiful mica I've got in my paints. I'm a huge fan of mica, to be honest. I love sparkly, shiny paints. But sparks are like my top favorite when it comes to super shiny, because it's ultra shiny. Ultra shiny. Just look at this. Can you see it? Absolutely beautiful. Now, quick drying before it's going to be too late, but I would not miss a chance to make some splatters, so I will just splatter a bit of watered down unicorn hair as well. It's going to add this beautiful sparkle. It's not completely dry yet, but this is dry enough to put my final element in. So the bird. I absolutely love this bird. It's just the one that I found in one of the old books, and I turned it into stamp for you because I just wanted that stamp in my life. So I will add a little bit more of the 3D foam on the back, and it's going to be almost ready. You can always add a quote or the text that you stamped. For example, in this set you've got Far and Wide or Soulmates or Wild and Free, which would be absolutely beautiful. You've got also other birds in that set. I was trying to think about this one as well, but I think the flying one is much better. It's more wild and free. So I will try to put it in place. And then what I need to do is to dry it all properly. This is the finished one. You can see all the layers, and let's compare it to the first one. You can see the composition is very similar, but this one has more purple on it. And it's just whatever happens is right here. When building layers, you just need to make sure the bottom layers are all nicely visible, and then you can always adjust the amount of the cheesecloth or the color if you prefer. I usually color everything together when it is all layered, because then for me the colors blend in a nice way. I'm not a huge fan of coloring separately. The only thing I was coloring differently was this huge chipboard, the hashtag. But it would be very hard to color it on the top of everything. So just to remind you all the steps. First, we glued the paper on the MDF Heart using some of the gel. It was 3D gloss gel. And then we cut the paper off and we used the permanent ink to stamp the patterns on the top. This was done quite quickly, and you don't have to be perfect. Then we put a coat of soft gloss gel on the top, so it's going to be resisting background, and we dried that layer. Then we started building the composition. There are big metal elements and big flowers as first layer, together with some paper tags and paper elements corresponding with the paper we've got in the background. Then we layered some cheesecloth and we added color using liquid acrylics. You can either make them into sprays and spray them, or you can apply them with the brush and water them down to get this watercolor effect you can see on my project. If you are done with this, you can dry it a little bit, add the metal elements I wanted to have, and I also added this big chipboard I painted separately on the side, and these metal cogs. Once it was all in, I was adding sparks. Oh, sorry, I forgot. I was adding also micro beads, which are, art stones, which are adding the texture. Then, after drying, I was adding the sparks colors. So the dragon's eye and the unicorn hair, watering them down to float, and then gluing down the last element. And this is how the heart was done. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer, and I will try to answer in the comments as well. I hope you enjoyed it. So I've got 2 hearts for you now. And you can use them as a home decor piece. You can use these techniques for making cards if you like dimensional cards. And you can totally adapt these techniques for your scrapbooking pages as well. So this is just an idea how to layer things together to get the results. And if you really are wondering what would be the best mediums to use, my selection for this project is heavy body gel for gluing down the big elements, right? Soft gel for mini art stones and for varnishing the heart. And for gluing down the paper, you can use any of these, or you can use the 3D gloss gel, which I had on my table anyway. And it's really up to you. Sticking paper to the MDF is just anything you have on hand. It's really up to you. And when it comes to the paints, I was using 2 kinds of paints, liquid acrylics. You can try similar tricks using just metallic paints, so the project will be more shiny then. And the second paint, it was Sparks ultra shiny acrylic paints. So that would be my choices. Let me say goodbye to you all. It's always a pleasure to have you here in my studio, and I hope you are going to enjoy creating similar projects. Prima's got a lot of amazing stuff that you can use in this kind of multi-dimensional home decor, or just simply a layout. Paper flowers, embellishments, any kind of elements that you can find, they are just great for that. And your paints and art mediums are going to transform everything in the most beautiful art. Thank you so much, guys. It's just great to see you all here. Don't forget to visit Prima website. It's primamarketinginc.com. And there is also a link to the blog. I'm sure Sharon is going to drop the link for you here. And if you want to visit my social media, I really recommend 3 places to visit. First of all, the website, finnabair.com, where tutorials come twice a week, every Monday and every Friday. And my YouTube channel, which is called By Finnabair. And also the channel of my design team, Finnabair Art Files. We've got YouTube channels. Make sure you subscribe so you won't miss a video. And everything goes on Instagram as well. If you're going to find Finnabair Studio or Finnabair on Instagram, you are in the right place. Prima's got amazing accounts as well. We are all there waiting for you with projects, inspirations, and just sometimes random stuff that I post because I like. Just look at my husband. He's getting into the zone, I think. You probably can't hear, but he's playing the guitar. So thank you so much, and it is awesome to have you here. Thank you, and happy creating.